We're back with another player spotlight. This time it's TimTheWilder. Gave me two pictures to go with, and I decided just to use them both, because one has pups and one has a rat. So we have rats. He doesn't play Skaven, so we'll have to teach him how someday. TimTheWilder's current rank is Bronze. His faction he plays are Beastmen, Wood Elves, and Lizardmen. As usual with the series, we'll go through his strengths and weaknesses, but good standard push, nice pike and shot builds. My only suggestions would be not clumping as much and more flank pressure. So we'll get right into it. First game we have is Beastmen versus Warriors of Chaos. This is usually a pretty hard matchup for the Beastmen. I mean, well, when I say pretty hard, I mean relatively, right? It's not Skaven Dwarfs level of hard, but it can be hard. And right away, we can see he has a nice, again, pike and shot build is usually the type of builds I see here. Ungor Raiders for some archer presence, then we have a bunch of chaff, Centaurs sprinting forward, and dogs and chariots, Wilds caster, etc. But we're not really here to cast the replay, more here to talk about the player. So I mentioned the flanks. Is there a 3 skirmish cav over here, 2 skirmish cav over here, and 1 chaos knights. So there should be a lot of flank pressure, but the Centaurs are being used kind of in the center, hitting chaos warriors with halberds, charging into more dogs, into more chaos warriors. Tuskor chariots are going through the infantry, and that's like fine, but you probably should secure your flanks, as we are going to see a rear charge come in here from the chaos knights that are going to rout off these centaurs that are now surrounded. So I would like to see a little bit more aggression on the flanks when you're going to do this sort of build, because attacking the center with chariots is fine, but the centaurs and dogs should only ever attack the center if there's like archers or something back here that you want to get to, so you're going to be sneaky and come up through and get the archers. But with this chaos army, there's nothing here. The only units that chaos is trying to protect are the mobility units that were previously sitting on the flanks. We see now these centaurs get over here onto these marauder horse masters, but if those dogs had still been alive, if other centaurs are here to help them, this would be going much better, right? You do have a Traderkin caster, so you can win those fights, especially if those chaos knights want to blob up on some centaurs. Just overcast Traderkin and come out ahead on the trade. Now that is one point of suggestion. The good things that are going on is slamming the front line, in large part keeping the archers online and active, shooting at some chaos warriors, and now they're trading well into marauder horsemasters. Torox is slamming through the front line effectively, and while the resources were thrown at the front line, at least it worked. I mean, there's a lot of dead chaos warriors around. Mobility is still doing fine, single entities are doing fine. Torox and the Gorbel are going to push off Archaon, and even a Traderkin is cast in this area. Yada yada. Now with archers still alive and still with a little bit of support, they can poke in here, support this single entity fight, and Archaon is forced to run out after these throwing axes for a little bit and get away from Torox while he leaves. His forces are depleted. The Marauder Horsemasters, Chaos Knights, and Dogs are sweeping up the back for his Chaos opponent. I believe it is strat game, but single entity fight's going pretty well for the Beastmen. They're still slightly ahead on the bounce power. And slowly but surely we are going to get a grind down as Centaurs peel off some dogs. And these Chaos Knights, they're pretty thick at the moment, but we do have Traderkin still. We have Torox and Gorbel. So they get dragged down. Nice, Traderkin takes more damage off them. Yada yada. Here it's a bit of Benny Healings. We'll triple fast forward as Gorbel and Torox fight everything that comes their way, including Archaon, who cycle charges a lot, and he is going to get dragged down. It's a good job, Tim. Nice plays there. And yeah, that got a little hairy in the mid-game there, but it got better. Second is from the best of 3 series we played once, where I think it was, I forget which tournament it was in, but we played a best of 3 in a tournament, and I got knocked out immediately by good old-fashioned Tim. So here we can see Beastmen versus Dwarves, and one thing I would like to see in the future is when you realize you're in a position like this where your opponent, me, is sent off to one side, you could take your infantry here and move them back out of the range and then move them sideways. And this allows for your other units to get in position without you being in range, because right now his best scores are just taking some free shots from my cannons while they wait around. You see, they're waiting around for the other army to catch up. They could wait around out of range and then get in range on the advance. This is where the second suggestion would come in, is clumping. Now this is the hard part about rushing. You have a lot of things going on. You're on a timer, yada yada. I get that. I do this shit all the time, but doesn't mean I'm not going to point it out just because I also do it occasionally. Clumping is a big issue. And if you can really spread out your troops and make sure everybody's acting on their own, you'll see huge returns on what they can do. As for the good things, I mean, he did get his Manticores off to one side, got him onto my range units very effectively. They're now surrounded by Dragonback Slayers, but I think he has a Traderkin or something over here. Chariots are rolling through, just disrupting as many ranged assets as possible, not really sticking around to kill anything, you're just making sure they don't do stuff. And then Thunderers are also going to be slapped down by Vestigor herds. It's a solid build. Nice standard rush, no real cheese to it, just takes good units and handles them effectively. Then he gets into a bit of a blob fight that my Slayers are loving for a little bit. Yada yada, cast some more Traderkins. Anything that routes off, he's running after it. Torox does Torox things, and yeah. Pretty good. I remember being like so shocked these Vestigors hung on this long. It's another good rush. And then we have the final build as Wood Elves. I guess we had seen 2 Beastmen replays in a row, but we have Wood Elves. Another Pike and Shot build, it looks like, except this time the shot is double way stalkers. And we have Wild Rangers and War Dancers in kind of a rush. Another straight line rush. Versus some High Elf, Skirmish, and Rahagor's Pride and whatnot of Artisan Tech Priest. Going forward, Waystalkers throw their arrows out, but it looks like they either miss or just don't do much damage to the target. Pushing forward. Good little pendulum there, catch like 3 units. You can see again the clump coming up. This will want to be avoided in the future because it's just too many units all running into the same thing. But aside from that, his army comps are pretty good. I mean, these Wild Rangers are taking a lot of damage, but now they got into melee. They're cutting through Spearmen alright. Archers in the back shooting, but there's just so many infantry, I don't think they can get through them all. A calm, collected attack. So it's good stuff. Tim is a pretty solid player. I mean, there's a lot of things people can work on, but, you know, he beat me in a best of 3. It's nothing to scoff at. You cannot take him lightly. Not at all. And he is getting better all the time. I'm sure we will see him rocket up through silver and gold in no time. Though with Warhammer 3 coming around the horizon, he might have to do it in the next game. So, hope that was helpful for Tim if he's watching this, and for the rest of you, if you run into TimTheWilder, you are now slightly more informed, and I don't know, he's always in the general chats of Ent Ladder, asking about stuff, talking about builds, criticizing his own play, so very analytical player. Yeah, that's all I got. If you or someone you think should be spotlighted and the community should know more about them, let me know. Doesn't mean I'll say yes, but oh well. Goodbye.